So, good evening. My name is Diego Gonzalez. I am from the Samsung Internet fairly new team, developer relationships. I'm very excited to be here making not only my debut on a developer event, but also on behalf of the team, very happy to be able to...
Sorry, excuse me.
No worries.
There you go.
Very happy on behalf of the team to be actually able to show some of the examples that we are working on. But first, I just have to make an announcement. We just recently launched a beta program for our latest, the latest version of our browser. So it really includes some very cool stuff like web payment, beacon detection with a service that we're calling Close By, and enhanced privacy. DuckDuckGo is integrated now in the browser, several other content blocking APIs. So if any of you is really interested in getting your hands on the beta, please give us a shout. We have here the Twitter handles and the GitHub for myself and for the team. So let us know, and we will make sure that you guys have a copy of the software. So now back to what we came for. The title of the presentation is PWACMAN. And what I wanted to do is, since this is a lightning talk, and I was aiming for 5, 6, 4 minutes, the idea was, well, why don't we make a show and tell of some of the projects, of one project in specific that I'm going to be working on. The main reason for this is because I'm fairly new to Samsung, and I'm fairly new to certain web technologies myself. I just recently came from a PhD, so it's quite exciting to see how the web world is changing. I think it's very cool because we are pretty much just using a lot of technologies that I wouldn't seen as possible on the web a couple of years ago. What I'm talking about is, well, my example is a VR game that's called PWACMAN. The game itself, it's a very simple idea. We all know Pac-Man. So the idea is taking the Pac-Man experience and putting it all around you and connecting to a gamepad. So in my case, I'm actually using the Xbox One controller just connected to the phone, and I'm using it as a standard input controller. And then using the headset, the movement of the head, in order to track where Pac-Man is and where the ghost is. So you are actually getting a kind of different experience where it's not a first person, but you're moving the Pac-Man all around you. And you have to, it's kind of coordinating in a different way from a first person shooter. So in order to achieve this, well, of course, it's web VR enabled. So here you have in the screenshots how the splash screen looks and how the going into web VR goes. Now, the application is still a work in progress, and it's meant to be a demonstrator for things that you can do with web VR. So I'm going to share the link, but it's not playable yet. And in order to play it, you either need a keyboard or a gamepad. I still need to think, how can we enable the game to work without one of these input mechanisms? But of course, wonderful technologies like the gamepad API, which is it just really blew my mind when I was able to connect the Xbox controller to the phone and start actually moving the character. It's web VR enabled, so what I'm using is A-frame underneath in order to create the virtual space. Of course, things like web audio, because every game needs its audio, but one of the things that's been the most interesting is the development of the progressive web app. And pretty much you have more experience in this than I have, because I've just recently done 2 progressive web apps the past week, and they were my first progressive web apps. But it's very interesting to say that the hardest part of the whole process was to actually use Blender to create the Pac-Man ghosts that would go on the game. So here is the address. If you have a mobile device, then I encourage you to go into this address right now and just get an idea. If someone wants to see how the application is behaving in VR. I have a Google Cardboard here. And if someone wants to move Pac-Man, which in order to find him, you just have to look down, you can pair the Xbox controller as well. So about the development process, actually, Peter, if you could go passing this around. Yeah. About the development process of this, you guys are pretty much more familiar to this than me, but it kind of goes something like this. You know, you're just dashing through the code in a OneWeb standard way, or the shims we go, which are kind of the ones that you need for the iPhone and Safari. Standards all the way. And I'm going to need your help here. Gamepad, APIs, servers, workers, shine. What fun it is to chat and see a VR app tonight. And this is where you guys go, oh, thanks. WebVR, WebVR, web is all the rage. Oh, what fun it is to guide our PWACMAN round the maze. A little help. Hey, thank you. Manifest, go offline, progressive web apps. Oh, what fun to share worldwide our PWACMAN PWA. Hey, thank you. So this is just a small example, one of the many apps that we are developing at Samsung, the Samsung Internet team. If you were here last month, you probably are familiar already with Peter's Snap What, which is this icon over here. If you are familiar, well, if you know Ada, you probably heard about Puddle for podcast as well. I myself, I published one recently, which is Bubble, which is a 360 viewer, all based in A-frame. Basically, I was traveling and I was taking 360 pictures, sorry, and I didn't have any way to share it with my friends, so I just pretty much made a progressive web app. And it's just very, very cool when you actually share this with someone. They install it on home screen, and then they're actually seeing the images that you're sending them. So what I guess what we really want to say from the Samsung Internet team is happy holidays, and thank you very much.